Hey guys, welcome back to the Nets, the home of unbiased views. This is a channel where we talk about Arsenal, we talk about football, we talk about overall transfers that are happening which are related to Arsenal, and we talk about cricket. But since Arsenal has been in news in the past few days and all for good reasons, let's touch base on Arsenal. And with me is Elroy. Before we go anywhere, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This is a channel called Back to the Nets. We talk about, again, we talk about football. And if you like our content, let us know. If you don't like our content, let us know. We will be glad to work and improve on it. And both our Twitter handles are down there in the bottom left corner of the screen. We are extremely active on Twitter. With that, welcome, Elroy.
Hey, Kayur. A lot of movement on its way. I mean, things have been happening finally, so lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about and good things happening with Arsenal. I mean,
Yeah,
two smart signings, Lokonga as well as Tavares. Smart signings, and Tavares already showed what he is worth
yeah,
with the agreement. It was a friendly, but nonetheless, his work rate and running back and forth all the way. Uh, Always nice to know that we have a backup who can actually do that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, first of all, people say that we have, a lot of people are talking about how we have got Lokonga and Tavares deals done, which are not first team. I agree, they might not be first team, or first 11 players rather, but, they are good options to have. Last year, we all know that when Tierney got injured, we suffered a lot because there was no backup left back. Although we could have played Saka there, we played Shaka there, and it was quite a mess. So Tavares is a very important player in that position. We can utilize Tierney in a better way. And knowing his attacking attributes, you never know when you will have to use him in a more wing back or an advanced winger kind of a role when you need certain a different dimension to the game based on the state of the game. And he's someone who said that in his interview that he can use his right leg as well as left leg, and he did score with his right leg. So it's quite an interesting player that we got there, and for the deal that we've got him for, the money, it's a very smart deal. And then you have Lokonga, who we've got him for rumored around 17, 18 million plus add-on. 22-year-old. He was the captain at Anderlecht, which shows that he's definitely has, the mentality maybe because he's leading a team there. And yeah, he's a youngster, no doubt, mainly for the future, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be purely for the future. He's definitely going to feature this season, especially with the African Cup of Nations where El Neni and Partey will not be there. So you know that he's going to have an important role in the squad. Then to add to this, we have he's a player who people have been talking a lot about. He himself said that he can play as a number 6 and a box to box midfielder. We've discussed this before where, based on no doubt YouTube itself, but people have mentioned that he's a player who can play a lot of progressive passes and carry the ball ahead. So, and it's something that we have lacked in this particular midfield of ours. So yeah, looking forward to him, and hopefully we'll get to see him in the preseason tour at the US and the upcoming matches at least. So good
So
signings
one
overall
of
from
the
the club. Yeah.
yeah, one of the things that I find absolutely annoying with Twitter is everybody is hyping him up so much. I read a tweet yesterday and that he was a combination of Vieira, and it's always Vieira, right? When you have a
No, no,
defender, always
no,
has to
no.
be
But
Vieira.
I
But
think that tweet somebody quoted it by saying that Vincent Company has said it, but that was apparently a fake tweet, so that
yeah,
was
I
not
mean,
true. But yeah, I
why
mean,
would a
see,
22-year-old be, a Vieira and a Fabregas, and you don't
yeah,
even find somebody at a lower level. And
true.
I'm pretty sure, not even half, but 90% of Arsenal fans have not seen him play. So
Yes,
now we are
exactly.
assuming that he's going to come in and create miracles in the midfield, which I feel is a little bit, it's going to put the 22-year-old under pressure. Considering
Yeah,
he's a captain, he should be able to cope up with that. But nonetheless, this is why we build up our own hype and get disappointed when the players
true.
underperform.
Yeah. No, but I think with Lokonga, I mean, obviously that hype on social media, you cannot avoid it. Tomorrow, we might end up signing Villian Part Two, which it happened, and people will make try to make sense out of the deal and will try go all out to prove that it's a very good signing. So that is a part and parcel of what you get on social media. But to be honest, based on a lot of these other podcasters, people who've been working a lot with data have been talking good things about Lokonga. It's a very smart deal because he's a young player. a very interesting central midfielder. And central midfield is a area where we have been kind of weak over the last 2 to 3 seasons. So it's good to see us investing in that area and getting a different profile. As I said, he might not be the regular starter, but he will definitely make a lot of appearance for us this season. And I'm excited for him because he's the kind of a player you look at it, you see us making a move for a 22-year-old central midfielder, and you think, okay, that is how we should be making our deals. It's a positive move that we are. At the same time, you do realize that we have lost out on Ceballos, and even Guendouzi has left. So we are short of midfielders. So again, I these two deals for me are really, really good deals. How they play, it's yet to be seen. I mean, we got a glimpse of Tavares, waiting to see how Lokonga is in red and white.
Keeping my fingers crossed and hope he's successful. Speaking of midfielders, another, the regular names have started resurfacing
Yeah.
again. There's Coutinho, then there is Auer, then there is Madison, and these names refuse to go away from Twitter
Yeah.
rumors. Uh, mm, let's ask you, what is your take? Who would be your priority? Forget
Uh,
about the money, but just from a standpoint with the way Arteta sets us up.
Okay, so if we look at it now, let's just talk about the fact that Ben White is already done. Like it's 90% done. I mean, the deal is agreed. It's just the medical and the final one. So once we've got Ben White and we already have Lokonga and Tavares, we are left with a couple of positions that we need to fill. So if you ask me, there are three positions, and it's four positions that are widely reported. One is a central midfielder, one is a central attacking midfielder, one is a right back, and a backup goalkeeper. Out of all these positions, if you ask me, central midfielder, yes, we do need a central midfielder, but central midfielder for me would be like one of the most important positions that we have to get. And no doubt, it all depends on Xhaka leaving, but I think it's almost certain that Xhaka will leave. If Xhaka leaves, we definitely, it's like 100% need a central midfielder in that spot, and we need to upgrade it. Now, the reason why I prioritize the central midfield position the most is in all the other areas, we can somehow make do with it. I'm not saying in the best way possible, but we can make do with it. Like in the attacking midfield area, let's just say we don't get an attacking midfield, although I do believe we will get a number 10. You still have the likes of Smith Rowe. Maybe someone like Saka could play there. I mean, worst comes to worst, you can do some reshuffling, and or you can set up maybe in a 4-3-3 kind of formation where you will not need an exact number 10. So we can manage it that way. Things can be managed. But central midfielder is very, very important. We cannot go into a season with Partey, El Neni, and Lokonga. This is considering that Xhaka is leaving. Let's just assume that Xhaka is leaving because that's most likely the case. So we need a central midfielder and a good central midfielder very badly. And for me, that is the priority. Then so as I said about the attacking midfielder, we can make do with it. I'm not saying it. Ideally, we do need another player, and I feel we will get it. But since you have Smith Rowe in a worst case scenario, I would say okay, that would be second priority. Third priority for me would be a backup goalkeeper because we have Leno and we have Ranarson. Ranarson, nobody wants him as a backup keeper. Okonkwo will be too young to be a backup keeper, so we do need a backup keeper. And the final spot in position would be like a right back. Although for me, right back is a very important position. It's practically difficult right now because we have four players in that position right now, and until we let go of at least three players, it's going to be difficult to, get in another body there.
I mean, I do agree with that, the way you have prioritized it. For me, I would say that right back is the least of my worries at this time. And that
Yeah,
is because like you said, we have Cedric, we have Chambers,
Chamber.
and Bellerin is still an Arsenal player.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
plus Ben White. Ben White can be
yeah.
floated there. So,
Plus, as of now, you still have Niles as well, so you have options.
Maitland
I
Niles,
know,
yes.
I know, this is not the best case scenario, but given because see, at the same time, you don't want to sign in too many players and disrupt the entire balance of the squad as well. So for me, right back could be a situation where we park it for either January or next summer, and
I
that
would
would have
not
to
be
be it.
surprised with that. Plus, the way you mentioned it really well, and I think that maybe Arteta might be thinking about having three in the back, three central defenders, and then two wing backs. And if that is the case, we may actually see Tavares sticking behind and Kieran Tierney being the wingback who floats up
Yeah,
and down. So if that is the scenario, then in that case, we have Chambers who can be a solid. Uh, he has Chambers has he hasn't been extravagant with his pace, but he has been doing enough for
yeah.
attacking. He can be a threat from the wide. So again, wing back is not something that I would be too worried about, or right back is not the least of my worries at this time. My biggest concern is again the creative midfielder and the three names that have been floating around it. There's always that Coutinho link, and for some reason, we are not cashing on a proven player. But okay, Arteta might have his own plans. The constant links that refuse to go are Madison and Our.
Yeah. To be honest, if you ask me my take, I think none of those three are going to take place. See, Coutinho is a very faint link, and I don't like there were links to Coutinho last year when his agent had a massive influence. But there are a lot of problems with Coutinho. One is being his wages. His wages is he's definitely not going to take a pay cut. Second thing is he would command a heavy fee, a heavy loan fee itself. So it's not something that the club would make that move. And Coutinho at the same time is not exactly the same player he is right now as what he was, back in his Liverpool days or when he just joined Barca, maybe, that time. Now, when it comes to, so I don't think Coutinho is a definite no for me. I don't see that happening for sure. Now, Madison, to be honest, Madison's price range itself is going to be like minimum 60 million, which is Arsenal going to spend 60 million on Madison? And even if they do, is that really the right thing? It's not about like a lot of people say it's not our money. It might not be our money, but is that the most wisest way to spend? He's a good player, don't get me wrong about that. But 60 million on Madison would be you don't the last thing you want is to have another Pepe kind of a situation. Don't get me wrong, Pepe could show up this season and I really hope so. But there are a lot of it's going to be a very, very uh, a different situation if we spend 60 million. And that being said, I don't see us as of now spending 60 million on Madison. Again, the only thing with come when it comes to Madison is AFC Bell, the guy who had reported about Partey and who was right all along. He's supposedly very reliable. He's the one who has been the main person who has spoken about Madison. There are certain factors which the deal could happen because there are rumors that he kind of has a falling out with Brendan Rodgers, or they are not in the best of terms. So maybe Leicester, if they get the cash, they could. But the thing again that puts me in doubt is that Leicester are very, very good negotiators. You saw how they extracted the maximum value for Maguire from United. They didn't settle for anything less. Same with Mahrez. Mahrez went for like quite a big amount to City. I don't think that they will compromise just because Madison wants to leave or something like that. They are not going to lower their price range. Their price tag is going to be fixed for Madison, and that is what it is. So if Arsenal think that they can get the deal on cheap, that is not going to be the case. So if they want Madison, they would have to just pay up the entire amount, which is, for me, it's a very sticky situation to be in. Last name is Awar. Now, Awar is a name that has, I feel Awar again is kind of like lazy journalism because they are just linking him to Arsenal based on last season. There are links, no doubt, by certain reliable reporters, but you know, so I was listening to the podcast of Ask Us Extra, where Gunnar Block, the guy who writes for Athletic, he mentioned that uh, when it comes to our, the thing is, last year itself, Arsenal had they were a bit skeptic about the deal. There were certain scouting reports, is what he heard, wherein scouting reports on and off the field, which put it against our, and which is why Arsenal didn't go all in for the deal. I think Arsenal could have gone on in, all in, because the rumored bid was 35 million, and there was like some 5 to 10 million difference from what Lyon wanted, and so Arsenal could have got it because they've spent 50 million for Partey at the end of the day. But Arsenal seem to have pulled it back. And based on the rumors, it feels that Arsenal are not going back for him. Maybe he will be one of the considerations if their main targets don't work out. Then maybe we'll go for our, is what I feel. If you ask me who my number one choice is, I wouldn't say my preference, but who I feel will happen. I still have a feeling that Odegaard will happen because so far we keep getting talks of Odegaard is happy at Real Madrid. He wants to fight for a chance, but things could change if he's not going to get a chance at Real Madrid. I think he will himself be more than open to coming back to Arsenal. And I have a feeling Arsenal are delaying in that position purely for, waiting for a decision what is going to happen with Odegaard, and accordingly they'll make their move. That is what my take on the number 10 role.
That was another name that started floating, making rounds in the
Yeah,
last 2 or 3 days, that Odegaard could still be available for something
yeah,
between 40 and 45, and which seems like a decent sign. But
yeah.
nonetheless, I didn't find him exceptional when he was playing for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Either we were spoiled by Santi Cazorla and Ozil in that position that everybody
True.
else looks fake now. But he let's just keep our fingers
Yeah.
crossed and hope that something good
Uh,
happens.
there is
Uh,
one more point to be mentioned about this, though. See, I have a feeling that the reason why I feel Odegaard might be the one and not anyone else is, if you look at the way the club is structured right now, it feels like the club want players. They don't want like a number one and number two attacking midfielder. They want a complementary midfielder and somebody who will not obstruct the growth of Emil Smith Rowe. So that is why I feel that they will not necessarily go for an attacking midfielder who will be like a very, very high profile and who will completely put Smith Rowe, a level below. I think they will go for someone who will complement Smith Rowe and who will like provide such competition that both of them can grow, is what I feel. Because Smith Rowe is someone like the club seems to have invested quite a lot in, I mean, they're heavily invested in him. So I feel that is what the direction they will go in. Yeah.
Spot on. And I think that giving Smith Rowe a number 10 jersey already I mean, I don't know how much that is true or how much that will hold going forward, but the fact that he's getting a number 10, a 10 jersey at this stage seems like we are banking or putting all our eggs in that one basket for Smith
I,
Rowe.
yeah.
Let's talk about the Locatelli deal and how lingering and annoying it is. I do not understand why we are holding off on a player who's not even, a primary person that we need for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And
I,
secondly, he has showed it many a times that Arsenal is not his first choice. Why would we go for somebody like that?
I honestly, Kev, this is one deal that I'm just fed up of listening to the Italian journalists recycle that news again and again and again. It's gotten to a point where it's really annoying. So, for context, for those people who don't know, maybe the thing with Locatelli is that they say the Sassuolo president or the whoever the head of who's dealing with it says that Arsenal have bid 40 million for Locatelli and Juventus, but Locatelli's preference is Juventus, and Juventus don't have the finances, or the deal that they have put forward doesn't make sense. Now, first of all, to start off with, I find that a load of nonsense. Like, if somebody is offering your asset 40 million on the spot, which is the biggest bid, why are you as a club going to say, okay, wait, let me hold on to that and let me see if I can get another team to be involved, when you know that that team may not, this is the point one, which just shows that Arsenal is being mainly used as a negotiating power. Like, maybe Arsenal have made a bid, nobody's going to deny that, but it just feels like our name is being overused in this entire deal, which is, as I said again, it's gotten really annoying. Then there are rumors that Locatelli wants Juventus. I'm like, please go to Juventus, because Italian players rarely tend to leave the Italian league as well. I have no doubt there are some who will leave and do well, but it's difficult for them during certain time. I mean, Juventus at the end of the day is like their prime club who everybody wants to join. So honestly, I don't see this deal happening. I mean, unless there's some dramatic chain turn of events, which it could happen, but I don't think it is going to happen. He's going to go to Juventus. It is just Sassuolo wanting money from Juventus, which in the end they will get it, and Locatelli will go. Now, the question from Arsenal's point of view is: are Arsenal actually interested in him and waiting on his decision, that they are putting everything else on hold? Like that, we don't know as of now, because from what we know, Arsenal like to work in the background, in the quiet, and we have seen quite a few deals which they have worked quietly and have got deals done that way. So maybe Arsenal are just like not bothered to even deny these rumors, because they are just more than happy to work in the background and achieve the target who they want. That could be one option. The second option could be that maybe Arsenal are actually waiting for his response, and based on his response they will go to the next option. So one of the easiest options would probably be someone like Neves. If Locatelli says no, nobody else is has been linked to Neves right now, apart from Arsenal. And there have been rumors recently where Neves' agent, that is the famous George Mendes, has been offering him to Arsenal. So it could be the case that Arsenal are just waiting for Locatelli to say no officially. So once he says no, then they shift their focus to someone like Neves or maybe to some other central midfielder. That these are the multiple possibilities, but honestly, I don't see Locatelli happening. It's I just hope that the story gets over fast, because it's gotten to a point where I get frustrated just reading those tweets of this saga.
And then there's this other point where Arsenal are, not even interested, maybe, and they just want to up the bid from Juventus.
Yeah,
Let that, let it go to 40 mil, and then we can sneak in somebody from Juventus squad. I don't really
exactly.
know. It could, it's a game of chess transfer window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And let's talk about the outgoing super quick. I know we are almost at time, but let's talk about the
yeah.
super outgoing super quick. That one club, that one club in the world that is maybe slower than Arsenal when it comes to transfer windows. Maybe Roma, who is not taking Xhaka off our hand. I
Yeah,
mean, they have been, and it's sometimes when you think about it from that perspective, you always think about, are these clubs actually waiting to see Arsenal's money and Arsenal's firepower to make a bid? And
yeah,
how much does somebody like that hold? Like, say, for instance, Roma, who's going to take Arsenal and give us the money, they might be waiting to see what kind of players Arsenal are interested in to cash in
true.
on once they get the cash from for Xhaka.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
so that
maybe
is
that is
that.
one of the things
Yeah,
why it's slowing down the whole Xhaka deal. But he's going
exactly.
to go. I'm keeping my fingers crossed
Yeah,
he's going to go.
yeah,
And then there are those again, those, the curious case of Joe Willock. We always talk about it. And there is now that murmurs some, again, it could be a rumor that maybe Arteta might persist with him. Maybe Arteta
yeah,
might persist with him. And again, that is something, we would like to have somebody like that on the squad, at least,
yeah.
if not a starter on the bench. What do you think
True.
if he stays? What do you think?
See, the thing with Joe Willock also, there are multiple layers to this. One is, after the kind of season he has had, I don't think Joe Willock would be the one who would agree for a role on the bench. That is one of the main thing. Second thing is, yes, he scored what, 6 or 7 or 8 goals for Newcastle in the second half of the season alone. And for a team like us who have not had goals from the central midfield, I mean, we would be stupid to say no to keeping Joe Willock, when you need a goal. The point here is that does Joe Willock suit our style? Because Joe Willock played for Newcastle, a team, we mentioned this in a podcast previously as well. He played for a team which is more of the counter-attacking team, the team that will not have a lot of possession. At Arsenal, it is different, where you will be keeping a lot of possession. So how much will Joe Willock succeed in that role? Will he be able to play the same way at Arsenal with a possession-based football as compared to Newcastle, where it is more running off the ball with the ball, like, rather than passing it around? That remains to be seen, because Joe Willock, typically he is not a central midfielder as such. He's not someone who will be able to play alongside Partey in a double pivot. That is not exactly his role. He is not very creative as a number 10. He's more of a midfielder in a midfield three. Someone who has that energy to go up and down, box to box, and like carry the ball forward. So does he suit us? I mean, he has attributes which are really good, and you know some things which, the way he carries the ball, is something again we don't have. And if someone like he does that for us, it's obviously great. So it all remains to be seen. I mean, I will be completely okay if we keep Joe Willock. I mean, especially if he can score those goals, that would be brilliant. What I am completely against would be if we send Joe Willock on loan. His stocks are at his highest right now. We either cash in on him or keep him. Don't send him out on another loan. You send him out on another loan, and it just like it. I don't ask me what would be the logic behind that.
So on that note, I was wanting to end this, but just take a moment to realize, get into perspective, all the things that you mentioned right now, that the double pivot, taking the ball in further through, that
Yeah.
just makes us realize what Vieira was. He was all
Yes.
these in
True.
one.
True.
Probably the best midfielder Arsenal has had. I mean, I won't even argue with it. I won't even,
Yeah.
budge down on that. He was the best midfielder Arsenal has had.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, look, we everybody knows that we have never actually replaced Vieira. certain notable mentions. I wouldn't say Vieira, but certain notable mentions of people who really changed the central midfield role. Like one would be Cesc. Obviously, was great in that role. He had it. Then we have Cazorla who did that. Ozil was more of an advanced midfielder, so I wouldn't say he had that same. And after Santi and Cesc, I would say one player who did that role of having being good with possession who was Aaron Ramsey, and we let him go for free. Like we got £0 from Aaron Ramsey. Of course, the a marginal fee for developing him. That was it. So it just shows that we have really messed up the central midfield of ours, and we are going back to rebuilding it. And it just shows how important it is to get that position right. And I really hope we
An
do get it right.
unpopular opinion, and maybe I could get tons of stack from the
Yeah.
fans here. But do you think that maybe Arsenal is holding off, hoping that Juventus come and make that bid and we get Ramsey back for a smaller fee?
I don't think so. I really, really don't think. See,
Don't
so
think so.
there was another report this is recently as well, where a couple of clubs are interested in Ramsey, but his wages at Juventus are really, really high. That is one of the issues you are going to face when you sign for a club when you are a free agent. So people cannot afford him. The financial aspect. To be honest, like I wouldn't say no, because tomorrow, say Xhaka leaves and we are not getting any midfielder whatsoever, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a deadline day move for Ramsey. I mean, that could happen. That definitely could happen. But I don't think that that would be something which is in the club's plan to happen. It would be something which is out of desperation rather than out of planning.
So, if I was to ask who are the players to look out for, I would say that midfield, the Juventus midfield. That is one place that, with I think tons of things will happen on last day with that midfield. Maybe
Yeah,
Juventus goes in with 30 mil, 40 mil for whatever that is for Locatelli. If they
yeah,
haven't bid that much by then, Arsenal might make that 40 mil and try to get
yeah,
Locatelli. And then if they
yeah,
get it, we get Ramsey for a
yeah.
free. But
Sure.
Ramsey is at that stage of his career where he wouldn't mind being a squad player. He wouldn't mind coming in from the bench. He's what 30, 31 now.
31.
And
Yeah,
agreed, not too much, but again, he has tired legs.
yeah,
Let's just admit
yeah.
that.
So,
Started his
and for
career at
me,
17.
yeah. For me, it's about like I feel that Arsenal will probably fill that position before the number 10. So I think now that Ben White deal is done, it will be about getting the players out and getting the central midfielder, and one central midfielder and the backup goalkeeper. So I think in the next 2 weeks or so, we will probably get some more information or names will start to pop up, is what I feel. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Sure.
Hopefully, good news
Yeah.
keep coming out from the Arsenal camp. Well, and on that note, let's just end this. Thank you for being here, Elroy, and
Yeah. Okay.
everybody watching us. If you have come this far, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know what we are doing right. Let us know what we are doing wrong and how we can improve it. And again, the Twitter handles are right there on the bottom left corner of the screen. We are extremely active on Twitter, and just let us know how we are doing. And on that note, thank you. Stay healthy, stay safe wherever you are. Final words, Elroy.
Yeah, just let's just hope that Ben White is going to happen soon, probably by next week. Once that is done, let's just hope we get some concrete news of the names ahead, and we continue to have a good preseason and get in our players before the start. Most important.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elroy. Talk to you
Yeah,
soon.
just yeah. See you guys.